What's up? It's Marcus here. And I'm going to try to record this video off just the top of my head and do a little bit of editing. Most importantly is that if you're out there and you're having a hard time with your taxes, I'm just kind of emerging from the other side of filing maybe like 13 years of unfiled back taxes, and I want to just share a little bit of what helped get me through, because it's a lot. It's like a life event kind of thing, right? Like, it's pretty epic. I remember, and so many times I've tried, I would make a day, I'd make a plan, I'd do healing sessions, talk to a coach or put up quotes, and nothing would ever really seem to make a dent in this kind of growing, looming, ominous thing, this like beast, which was like the unfiled taxes. And if I really took it apart, everybody has a slightly different circumstance, but there's a lot of unknown information, a lot of that compounds is like overwhelm, like, oh, I don't have these receipts, and I don't know about this, and I want to file, but I don't have all the numbers, and what if I fudge the numbers a little bit, and there's just so many things, and if I'm going to claim, if I'm going to be honest, I need to be totally honest, and I bought all these things for my business, but I don't have the receipts for them, and for me it would just keep compounding and compounding, and soon it just became this huge shadow that I like really successfully just did not think about in my life. And it came down to this point where I was taking a lot of different courses in shamanism and healing, and the whole idea is like, how do you live your destiny? How do you move forward in life, right? And it really felt like I was getting it didn't feel like I was getting stuck. What it felt like was, there was this one day in particular, I was sitting down and I said, why, and I was spending all this energy making plans, like trying to hang out with new friends, focusing on new projects, new ideas, getting creative, and it felt like I had this moment of realization. It felt like I was paddling really hard, but my boat was still tied to the dock, like I wasn't going anywhere. And I just got really honest with myself, and I said, I know why. And I looked by the door. I was sitting on the couch, and I said, there's a box there, and in that box is full of things that I don't want to look at, and until I look at that box, it's going to be really hard for me to move forward. And of course, in that box were my 13 years of unfiled taxes, the little bits of information that I had from them. And I put that box there because they were in a closet before, and from a closet they came to a box by the door. So, you may be able to relate to that in the way that, you may have done little things like put magnets and stickies up on your fridge, and like, I will do my taxes, and soon, your friends ask you about it, and then my parents ask me about it, and I would get so irritated. I'm like, you guys don't understand like how overwhelming this is for me. And now I know something about what actually helped me to move it forward. And so I don't know if it's just pure willpower, and I don't think so, because I think the timing has to be right too. But it doesn't happen because of your willpower, but it doesn't not happen because of your willpower. Like, I was very determined, and I also had the time and space to deal with it in my life. There's this idea that it's like, okay, I might be in some serious trouble here. Like, I don't want the CRA to be after me first, right? Like, that's going to change the whole game if they come after me. So, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 9 years, 10 years, then it's like the game's changing. Like, I got to get on this now. Just to be able to sort through the overwhelm. And here's my practical advice. First of all, there's this really great book. It's called The Power of Atomic Habits. And the main idea is that it's not, sometimes we think that monumental success is equated with monumental efforts. Like, if I just do this massive house cleaning, right? And that's one way to look at it. People will be like, well, just have a tax party, just get it done. And that never happened. I tried. I met I met all kinds of people in the same situation as me, but it just never happened. What really worked for me was this idea that it's not monumental efforts that make change, it's little tiny habits every single day. And that's how it's like those little small 10,000 steps to success. Lao Tzu says, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Every man who moves a mountain, every man or woman or being who moves a mountain knows that it must begin with moving small stones. Part of how I got myself in this mess was I didn't think that the little things add up. I'm like, oh, it's just this little thing, and I'll just put that aside, and I'll put this, and then eventually I added up to 13 years, and 13 years adds up. And the positive thing is that everything adds up, even the little pennies, of little pennies of effort that you put together. And so, there's this really beautiful there's a double-edged sword of realizing how little micro efforts make a huge difference in terms of things that you don't think add up, and the truth that everything adds up. And I know how overwhelming it is. Like, there would be days when I'm like, I was in Calgary in a hotel room, and I said, I'm going to just bring my taxes there, and I'm going to have the whole day to myself to do it. And it's like the whole day went through. I tried opening up my taxes. I couldn't find the old work that I had done, little bits that I had accumulated. I tried calling, asking friends for help from small accountants. In fact, I saw, it's 2020, I saw a post I made in Facebook in 2013 asking for help for friends who knew of small business accountants, At one point, I have to ask myself, like, how did I end up in this position? And, I kept on telling myself this story that, like, I'm this, like, honest guy. I do good work for my community. I don't really make that much money. I should be fine. Like, I'm good. I'm in the clear. I'm protected. And what I've realized coming through my taxes is that I play this kind of emotional budgeting game, which is very different from just adding up the numbers. The numbers add up. They either add up or they don't. And going through the taxes was like this. In shamanism, we kind of call it like it's a power retrieval. It's like there's a paper trail that you can follow. And that was a really amazing thing. It was actually one of the most grounding things that I could be doing in this whole COVID crisis. One of the main dangers is, like, every single day there runs a risk of me pushing it out of the back of my head, and it's just going to slip further and further back. Even after not touching them for like 2 weeks, I was like, oh, I got this really good ground. I'm going to just take a break for a little bit. I finished a couple years, and then even I left it for a week, and even by the time I went back to tackle them, I felt like I couldn't remember, like I just totally lost my place. Like I just kind of, like, the tide came over and just pulled me back in, So it's so important. If you're really serious about doing this, you've got to create some really, really simple, small habits, because it's probably the bad habits that allowed you to get this far, right? I mean, that's what it was for me. And so what I did was I said, okay, this is just what I did. I used that whole SMART goals, right? Which is like specific. It's got to be specific. It's got to be measurable. It's got to be achievable. It's got to be realistic. Don't just be like, I'm going to finish my taxes this year. That's what I would always say. I'm like, I'm going to do my taxes this year. This is the year. And it's got to be time bound, right? So you have to be like, okay, for this one whole week, this is what I said. I said, for one whole week, I'm going to spend 1 hour on my taxes. It doesn't matter what I do, but I'm going to just sit with them, okay? And that's measurable, and it's achievable, it's within my means, and it's realistic. And that first hour, all I did that very first day was I was like, okay, I've tried taking my taxes out of the closet. Now they've just been sitting by the door for like in a box for like 2 or 3 years. And now it's like, okay, I need to create a specific desk for my taxes. Because what would happen is I would take out all of the papers, and like nobody wants papers lying around everywhere. And if you don't have an office lying around, it wouldn't stay current. So when I would go to there, I would spend an hour trying to remember what I had done, and a lot of growing to do and just basic bookkeeping, right? That's not my forte. I'm really proficient at other things, and that's okay if you're not proficient at those kinds of things, right? You're probably proficient at lots of other things. And so I said, okay, let's make a desk. I need a dedicated desk. So for that first hour that one day, I dragged up a desk from the garage, and I'm like, I put my taxes here, cleaned it all up, set my computer down, set all the receipts and stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is now the dedicated space. And that felt so good. And then from there, I started like putting up quotes on the monitor screen, and a little bit of a log, like this is what I logged. I did this today and did that today. And you're going to come up against your obstacles. What would happen is at the end of each session, I would log what I'd completed, and I would log what are the next steps. It's like I needed a handrail to stay connected to this. Otherwise, I would be at risk of just getting completely lost again. about lockdown, and that comes back down to having an obstacles sheet, a list of obstacles clearly articulated. And you're going to come up against things that through the process of not having filed your taxes in so long, you're going to probably see, or what I saw was that those patterns pervade your whole life. It's really that simple. Life is fractal that way, right? Like the patterns are everywhere. And some of these unhealthy patterns, that they're not unhealthy, they're just what we grapple with. It's like what we came here, in life to learn. It's like I'm not a bad person because I didn't do my taxes. Like, I'm a pretty honest person. I'm a pretty honest person who got overwhelmed and got, lost in the backlog of my taxes. You're going to come up against obstacles, so make a list. Is to start kind of taking down the overwhelm. You've got to make a list of your obstacles and just lay them out so you can see them and see how they're connected. It's like, okay, I'm missing information. I'm missing my student loans. I don't have all the receipts. I've got I don't know how far back I can go to the banks. I don't have someone to help me with. I don't know what I can claim in my small business taxes. I don't know how to work with the square foot. I don't know what I can claim and what I cannot claim. Start making down a real tangible list of the obstacles. The other thing that really helped me was I got a free consultation from a tax firm, and I'm going to leave you a contact of someone that really helped me. And that person, that professional, and it really does help because it's free. Because if you were like in my position, it's like I don't have money to and then to get help for taxes, and the other part of me is like I really need help. And so that was another thing that just built up for a really long time. But once you get that person that you can call, and it's a good person that you can rely on, it's like it makes a world of difference. She's like, don't worry about it, just leave it in another tab for now, we'll deal with that later, just keep going. And by the end of it, it's like, hopefully you've got access to a computer and a spreadsheet, Google Sheets, and you're going to start healing the structure. You're going to start creating the structure that was not there to collect all that information. And that's monumental, because the idea in my life is I realized that structure was damaged, it was broken, it didn't exist in my life. So really this is about healing systems. It's about changing the system, your internal system, and to have a system to catch all that information where there was no system there before, there was no infrastructure. So this is monumental in my life, and there's lots of reasons why that system didn't exist. For me personally, it's connected to ancestral trauma and all kinds of things that my parents were able to and not able to do. It doesn't matter. You're going to come up with a spreadsheet, and soon, once that spreadsheet becomes really, really clear, and if you need help with that, ask me. You're going to just start dropping in information. And let me tell you, when you get to that place when you just start dropping information, it's like you can't stop. It gets so fun that you can't even stop doing your taxes. I went through a phase where I couldn't stop doing my taxes. It's all I wanted to do. And there's going to be places where you're going to be missing information, but it doesn't matter. You just make a note of it, and you just keep going, right? You've got your fuel, you've got your expenses, your travel expenses, your internet, your cell phone. There's this amazing thing that started happening to me, and it's like I'm not budgeting with my emotions anymore. Because I just didn't know how much I made. I was just kind of a happy guy, right? And then I was like, wow, these numbers, like everything adds up, and it was incredible to see. I never even, for the last 12, 13 years, I never even knew how much I made. I didn't even really care. I just knew that I could live a pretty decent life, And there was moments where I was shocked to be like, whoa, I made a lot of money that year. Like, wow, because part of me wanted to be like, but I live in poverty and I don't make that much money. I'm just a little potato, and the CRA is not going to come after me. And the other part of me is like, oh, but wow, I actually made pretty good money. And I would find myself trying to like hide that. Like, no, but I didn't make money. I don't make much money. The CRA doesn't, they're not going to be interested in me. And all these incongruencies in myself that I could see that I've been carrying for so long. So there's all these amazing things I'm guessing that will happen to you as you move through this life event, which is filing through your back taxes, right? You're probably going to start seeing how you were able to arrive at this situation. Now, what I really want to encourage you, it's like, there's the guilt, there's the embarrassment, there's the shame. It's like, I get it, man. Don't just embrace it, right? What you need is support right now. You don't need to dwell on those feelings. You need to get started. Let the realizations come by doing your taxes. And aspire to begin creating the new habits in your life as you rebuild that structure that, that wasn't in place to catch all that information. And you're going to start noticing, or what I've started noticing is that real change starts to happen in your life right away. It's like, and I can see all those broken structures all over my house in the way that my fridge is organized, the way that I deal with food and money and things lying around. It's just everything is connected to everything. Is a mirror of everything. And so if you're at this stage, you're probably ready and ripe for some real, positive change in your life. Yeah, here's my basic advice. It's like, set some SMART goals for yourself. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. If you set it too big, you can be like, oh, I'm gonna really do my taxes this year. I just know I will. I think I did that for like 5 or 6 years. It's not gonna work. You need to just check in, be like, okay, after a week, I'm gonna spend an hour on my taxes once a week, and tell 5 friends about it. Be like, hey, listen, I'm setting this goal for myself. Can you check in on me? Can you, I'm sure that, because you need someone to be accountable to, right? To make a list of your obstacles that are overwhelming you. Once you see them on paper, and they're not gonna be as overwhelming. Just acknowledge that they're there. Right now, when they're invisible, they're just compounding, and they've got way more power over you. 3, get the help of a professional. Even if it's just a free consultation at first. You're eventually gonna have to. Paying for the filing of the taxes was a decision that I realized that I was just like, I just need to pay for some help, even if I have to put it on my credit card and go in more debt for it. And it's made all the difference. Really, it has. I still had to do all the harvesting of the data. I slugged it out. I wasn't going to pay anybody to go through my receipts for me. 4, it's like the information is out there to a degree. I got old credit cards, PayPal receipts, your bank statements. TD Bank was able to print up to like 8 or 9 years of bank statements for me. You can get it on a PDF file. There is a paper trail, flights and stuff through emails. It's out there, it's scattered. But once you have your spreadsheets in place, you can start plopping down that information. Because the truth is that if you've been waiting this long, you gotta consider you might be getting an audit, right? And you gotta hope for the best and prepare for the worst, because it's gonna get real messy. So you want to do the best job that you can. You want to be as clean and honest about everything as you can, just in case. And that is there would be times where I would just be kind of going through it, and be like, whatever, I just want to get this done. And I would notice the integrity of my work was sliding, so I would make that readjustment, and it felt way better. It felt way better. And the fact is that it's never done. You're not done with it. Because then you've got the next thing to do. It's like, well, how am I going to pay for what I owe? I owed $38,000. That's fucking, pardon my language. I couldn't even believe it. But there's help. I want you to know that there's help. I couldn't think about how much I was going to owe. I just need to take one step at a time. You need someone to celebrate those successes with you. So take things one step at a time. I'm going to tell you there's help for that later. You can get a trustee who can help you come with a consumer proposal plan, people going down from $25,000 to paying down to $8,000. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about, there's so many things to worry about. Just start creating those daily habits that are going to help you get a little bit closer to moving that mountain. Okay, I hope that that's helpful in some way. And it feels amazing to move through these 13 years. What feels good is that I'm not running away from this. I'm here to face the music, and I'm going to try to face the music with a smile. Yeah, I owe a lot of money, but you know what? In some ways, it's the most sobering thing that has happened to me. Oh, that's why my life felt so kind of subtly out of whack. And it's because I'm just growing up and learning about things that nobody really taught me about, And I don't think I did anything wrong. I honestly don't. I just put my focus on other things that were important to me. So I want to encourage you. It's a really valuable life journey, life experience to move through. And I want you to know that you're not alone, and that there's help out there. Give me a call if you need encouragement, man. I'll love to help you out, give you some advice. So I'm going to close off with, there's so much more I could say about this, but I want to keep this video succinct, right? So the advice I want to give, it's begin with what's possible. do what you can. Begin with what's possible. Get a dedicated desk for your space. Call Joanne, call my friend, and just set up an appointment. Get a free consultation. Start with what's possible. Then do what's necessary. Okay, you know what? I need to make time. I need to carve out time for this, or it's just gonna keep getting pushed back. Begin with what's possible, then with what's necessary, and soon you'll be doing the impossible. Soon you'll be like in this place that I'm at, where I'm like, yes, I did it, and it's like, wow, I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it. But now I've got other stuff to face. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't end. You know, this is your life's work. And if you found yourself in this situation, you know, there's probably a lot more lessons. But what you can do is you can stand in integrity and be like, I'm here to face the music. And it's not like I'm about the loopholes, but there are professionals out there that know things that we don't know and that can work in our favor. And it's not illegal, it's not dishonest, but there's just things that I don't know. And so I want to encourage you, there is good help out there. Take things one step at a time and get back to me, okay? Lots of love, you guys, and I'm wishing you all the best. Okay, this is Marcus. Take care.